book of Revelation contains some of the most enigmatic topics of the New Testament. Who are the first and second beasts described in Revelation 13? And the most intriguing question of all, what is the name encoded in the number 666? In this video, I will show that ancient Roman sources themselves shed crucial light on these mysterious issues. The book of Revelation was very likely among the last of the texts composed which would eventually end up in the Christian canon of Scripture. Modern biblical scholars such as myself tend to believe the book was written sometime in the late 1st or early 2nd century AD. In Revelation chapters 2 and 3, 7 churches are discussed. They are all situated in Western Asia Minor, modern-day Turkey. The concern the author has for these places tells us that the book was very likely composed somewhere in that area. Speaking in very apocalyptic terms, the author of Revelation tells us, "Then I saw a beast come out of the sea with 10 horns and 7 heads. Then I saw another beast come up out of the earth. It wielded all the authority of the first beast. And it made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, and it made anyone who did not worship the image of the beast to be put to death. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a person, and his number is 666. I believe with most biblical scholars that elements such as the first and second beast, as well as the number 666, were not meant to be guides for the end times. They were describing the author's contemporary concerns. By the accidents of history, there has been preserved to this day an exchange of letters between the Roman governor Trajan and a man named Pliny, who was the Roman governor of the province of Bithynia and Pontus in Asia Minor in the year 110. Around the time and in the place the book of Revelation was very likely written. Pliny wrote to the Emperor Trajan asking for the emperor's advice on how to deal with Christians. Pliny states that when someone was brought before him accused of being a Christian, I interrogated them as to whether they were Christians. Those confessing, I interrogated a second and a third time, having threatened them with execution. Those persisting, I ordered executed. Pliny goes on to inform the emperor that someone published an anonymous document naming a large number of people in his area as being Christians. Pliny interrogated the people named on the list and told the emperor that he released any who invoked the gods, following my words, and made an offering of incense and wine to your image, which I had ordered to be brought for this purpose, together with statues of the gods, and moreover, cursed Christ." As I said earlier, the book of Revelation states that the second beast makes as many as do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. That is exactly what Pliny, writing at the same time and place as the author of Revelation, told his emperor that he was doing. Revelation states regarding the second beast, he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. This certainly matches the authority that a Roman governor exercises in the name of the emperor. If the 7 heads signify the 7 hills of Rome, then perhaps the 10 horns mean 10 emperors. Following the death of Nero, 3 claimants to the imperial throne briefly reigned. They are not considered true Roman emperors. As of the year AD 110, when Pliny was governor in Asia Minor, Rome had seen the following true emperors: Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Vespasian, Titus, Domitian, Nerva, and the 10th was Trajan. Nicomedia, the capital of Bithynia and Pontus, where Pliny would have had his residence and base of operations, was just 250 miles from the center of the area where the churches of Asia mentioned in Revelation 2 and 3 are located. People in those churches could not have been unaware of the persecution Pliny was overseeing just to their northeast, and they would have assumed that the Roman governor was carrying out the will of his superior far away in Rome. I assert that what Revelation 13 is describing is the persecution that Governor Pliny was conducting against Christians in his province in Asia Minor. And that would mean that Pliny is the second beast. And so Trajan is the first. Trajan, therefore, must be what is encoded by the number 666. Most biblical scholars have previously asserted that the best candidate for the number 666 is the Emperor Nero, who ordered the first general persecution of Christians following the Great Fire of Rome in AD 64. The number 666 is found to match the Hebrew numerical values of the name Neron Caesar, the Greek version of his name, when written in Hebrew characters. Here is a breakdown of the numbers for the character of the name. And this adds up to 666. There is a very old textual variant found among some manuscripts of Revelation in which the number is 616 instead of 666. And this variant may have come about because that is the number produced when you calculate using Nero's Latin name, as follows. Now you will notice that the name Neron Caesar arrives at 666 as a fairly random collection of numbers. I believe that the author of Revelation intended readers to find the name in a more straightforward manner. I assert that the author expected the reader to simply unpack the alphabetic values of the numbers 600, then something adding up to 60, and finally 6. What is the Hebrew way to represent the number 600? The answer is Tav Resh. Tav equals 400 and Resh equals 200. They were used together by convention to signify 600. The name Trajanus in Latin, or Trajanos in Greek, would be spelled next with the Hebrew yod, producing the same Y sound as the Latin I before a vowel. And yod equals 10. The next consonant would be the nun, and nun equals 50. And so, Tav, Resh, Yod, Nun, Trajan, add up to 660. On to the final number. The Hebrew letter for 6 by itself was Vav, the W sound, also used for the vowels O and U. Taken all together, the number 666 encodes the Hebrew letters Tav, Resh, Yod, Nun, Vav. Adding in the vowels, these letters are immediately recognizable as the name Trajanus, Trajan. The sheer elegance of the number 666 would certainly be more important to the author of Revelation than the mere nominative form of his name, because adding the final S would have resulted in the inelegant number 726. While that may be true, the context of Revelation 13:18 indicates that the form we have here may be precisely what we should have expected. The letters Tav, Resh, Yod, Nun, Vav would pronounce the Greek genitive form Traianu of Trajan. The Greek word rendered as number can just as validly be translated as sum, and in that case the genitive form of the name Trajan would be expected, in parallel to the word anthropo of a person. For it is the sum of a person, and its sum is of Trajan, Traianu. On my websites, I will post a fuller presentation of my research with citations and further evidence too detailed for this video, but I will address one final question. If this interpretation should have been apparent to early Christian readers, why was this solution not passed down as an option? The answer comes in Trajan's response to Pliny's letter. He wrote back the following: Christians are not to be sought out. If they are denounced and found guilty, they must be punished, but anonymously posted accusations should have no place in any prosecution, for this is both a very bad example and not in keeping with our times. The early Christian historian Eusebius states that because of Trajan's reply to Pliny, on account of this, the persecution seemed lessened in its extreme violence. Trajan's reign was notable not only for its military expansion, but for internal prosperity enjoyed by all within the empire. And as the memory of Pliny's persecution faded, Esteem for Trajan only increased by the time of his death. Trajan was simply not an obvious candidate anymore to be considered the beast of the apocalypse. But I believe I have demonstrated that he was very likely the original man that the author of the book of Revelation described as the first beast, and the man whose name was 666.